if you didn't know any real, serious, intelligent Christians, where would you come into contact with Christianity?
Reprobate means you're going to hell.
Pope Benedict XVI has resigned due to widespread corruption in the Vatican.
I believe in the truth of the book of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel.
A lot of times what's proclaimed and what's kind of put out there as the gospel message is a bunch of things you need to do, or a bunch of rules you need to follow, or this kind of system you need to submit your life to. So when people hear that and they say, why would I want to submit my life to some system or some box of rules?
When I say God and somebody who's not necessarily a believer says God, we don't mean the same thing.
My view of Christianity was developed by what I saw on TV. That's a really shallow view of God, and yet I didn't really have anything else to compare it to.
That's the image that, as far as the media is concerned, we present to the public. You know, if that's what I knew about Christianity, I would have absolutely no interest in it.
I think the biggest issue with Christianity as it's perceived in the West is that people think they've already tried it, that they've already seen it, that it was just one of many other views and it's been tried and found wanting.
You know, sometimes we use the same vocabulary but not the same dictionary, and I think that's really obvious when you start talking about things like morality and God and Christianity. It really is something that was predicted a long time ago. Friedrich Nietzsche in his Parable of the Madman talks about churches being the sepulchres and the graves and the tombs of God. In other words, you're going to see these references to God hanging around Western culture, but in reality, it's not really pointing to anything kind of all that powerful.
The church I went to growing up looked like this. Or this. Or even this. My view of Christianity was one I got from living in a middle-class American context. And I never had the chance to leave that context until after college, when I was able to spend 3 months living somewhere else. I expected there to be a lot of differences between America and Africa, but what I didn't expect was how radically different Christianity would look in Africa. When I got back to America, I wanted to better understand how Christianity is viewed in our country. And so I just started talking with anyone who would talk with me and asking point blank, what is Christianity? This film will investigate the different ideas within American culture that have shaped the way we think and distorted our understanding of who God is. This film will bring back to the surface the story about man and about God that we were born to understand.
So you guys are both Christians, you'd say, at this point?
I am.
Yeah. So you guys believe in heaven and hell?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, we're somewhere in between there.
I'm not. Oh, no. I'm like here.
How does a person get to heaven?
Person gets to heaven. Okay, there are so many different things about this. All right. There is the school that if you give yourself up to God, whatever, and anybody can go and say that and think they're going to go to heaven and do bad things, still think they're going to go to heaven. I'm kind of more of the mindset where you're just going to go to heaven if you're a good person. God's not going to turn you away from heaven.
Yeah. So all dogs go to heaven?
Dogs go to heaven. Cats go to heaven.
No, I mean all people go to heaven?
Yeah.
Oh, no, because most people aren't that nice.
Okay, so it's about being nice, and that's how you get
It's not, I don't know. God, shut up.
Yeah, we don't really know. We really don't know about that.
Chalk.
Yes.
Yeah, we're here. Little 5 points. What's that mean? You want to be in a documentary?
I'm kind of in a hurry.
Okay, no worries. Dude, next time. I ask people the question, what is Christianity? And I get lots of different responses. So I'm going to ask you that question to hear your definition of what is Christianity.
It's really no different than most religions. I mean, there's little parts of the story that are different, but it's all the same moral, boundaries and whatnot.
After a few weeks of talking with people, I started to notice a few reoccurring perspectives people had on Christianity. Some people seem to think that God is a symbol we've created to give us something to believe in.
My belief is that Jesus did not exist.
Others view Christianity as a tool used to control people or incite fear.
It's just imposed a bunch of rules and a structure and a hierarchy, just as it would be a government or IBM or any other place.
It's not even really about God, it's about control.
Others still would say that all religions are the same, that we should just pick one that works for us.
I don't necessarily think that Christianity is the only way to access God or spirituality.
Whether you're believing in yourself or you're believing in God or you're believing in another person, belief and faith is really what every single religion teaches you.
I've just gotten so many different answers. Very, very different answers from people that it's helped me to see this is an area of confusion. This is an area that we just aren't really agreeing on. There's so many different thoughts about it that I think it's worth addressing in a serious way and taking a really deep look into in order to define the terms and in order to sort of evaluate what Christianity really is.
A lot of people tend to think of themselves as being a Christian simply because they're born in America and this is kind of a Christian culture. Interestingly, my family, who's from Baghdad, Iraq, before they came to the United States also thought the same thing. They thought the United States is a Christian nation and that everybody there are Christians, and soldiers that come from America are Christian soldiers. And so you kind of have actually a lot of different parts of the world thinking this idea. Now, what's interesting is that oftentimes when you talk to people in the United States who might identify as Christians, it turns out that oftentimes they're nominal Christians or they're cultural Christians. In other words, they've bought into sort of the cultural trappings of Christianity, but when you press them upon morality and how they should live, or about maybe the nature of theology, about the Trinity or the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, they tend to not know how to answer those questions because it turns out they're actually not that church. They don't attend services regularly. They don't know much about Christianity. And so you have this large population of people who turn out to be nominally Christian in name only.